Takashi is a pathetic loser who can't even see the baddies right in front of him because he is too hung up on the one who broke his heart. But that all changed when your basic zombie apocalypse broke out. And now, being about the hottest guy left alive, he is surrounded by a whole team of hotties, all looking to clap him. But before all that happened, Takashi is standing there sulking at his usual sulking spot, thinking about how life somehow pushed his childhood crush into the arms of another of his childhood friends. He remembers how she pinky swore to spend the rest of her life with him, but she later ditched him for this guy. Just then, Seiya comes out of nowhere and tells him he should stop skipping class, or else he'll be held back a year. After she's done with her angry little TED talk, she realizes this rockhead is not ready to move on from his ex, and she just leaves him there. Takashi then notices a man glitching out at the front gate. Some staff members come out to quell the commotion. 3 PE teachers and a saucy little secretary head over to shoo the man away. The nice lady tells the man to stop banging on the gate. One of the coaches steps up and grabs the man through the gate by his shirt, thinking he will bang a little sense, or at least some compliance into this creep. But then the zombie takes a big old bite out of the man's hand, like he is getting down on a fresh McRib Sammy. The man rolls on the floor until his soul leaves the schoolyard. Then the zombie sauce in him slowly twitches awake, and since no worthwhile zombie could pass up such an attractive woman, he grabs her and takes a huge bite out of the fine secretary's delicate neck. Takashi sees all this from where he is standing and immediately knows something is way off. He instinctively runs to his childhood crush, Rei, and tells her they have to leave, that the school is not safe. She tells him that he must be out of his mind, but he immediately resets her brain with one hot slap and tells the new boyfriend, Hisashi, that they should evacuate before they become zombie chow. Takashi explains what he saw at the gate as the 3 of them run through the hallways. Hisashi stops to grab some weapons. Rei asks for a phone so she can call her dad since he's a cop. She tries calling, but the call does not go through. Just then, an announcement came over the intercom, but as the man was announcing that an incident had happened at the school, his voice started breaking, and then everyone could hear him scream in agony. After a moment of silence, the entire campus erupts into chaos. Everyone scrambles and runs in all directions. However, Takashi and the others decided not to escape through the crowded school building. Instead, they head for the relatively deserted administration building. While crossing the bridge between the buildings, they encounter the literature teacher slow walking through the zombie dance. Rei, encountering this kind of situation for the first time, panics at first, generously giving us full fan service while trying to push him away. After a moment, she pulls in all her leftover aura and starts to swing the mop stick like she knows what she is doing at the ugly monster. After a few more ninja moves, Rei brutally stabs the mop stick right into the teacher's standard issue sweater vest. But the 3 of them are about to learn that a stab through the heart is not a kill shot when you are fighting the undead. Flailing on the end of her pole, like a harpooned fish, the thing regains its footing and flings Rei onto her butt. Like a true heroic anime boyfriend, Hisashi rushes up and grabs the teacher in a chokehold from behind. Even though Takashi told this moron that they need to keep their distance from these walking dead, Hisashi confidently states that he can handle it. Then something unexpected happens. The teacher's head suddenly spins 180 degrees like a Chucky doll.
Wanna play?
This freaks everyone out, and the zombie man goes on to take a full appetizer bite from Hisashi's arm.
Again. Nothing new, nothing changed, same old shit.
Takashi takes a whack and Rei stabs the thing again, but they are having no effect. Rei drops her staff and tries to just pull the teacher away. She then yells at Takashi to do something. Seeing what's happening, Takashi doesn't have time to think. He rushes in, raises his baseball bat, and smashes it down on the thing's head. Finally, the terrifying teacher fell to the ground and stopped moving. Subsequently, these kids decide to head to the roof together. The rooftop, devoid of people, seems the best place to wait for help to arrive. From there, they get a good view of the city and see smoke everywhere. The school grounds, the corridors, everywhere is all painted with blood spatters, and it slowly begins to set in just how deep in shit are. Takashi starts to realize that these are all dead people. Once bitten, you would become one of them. The only way to properly defeat them is to smash their heads. While the 3 of them are talking, more and more zombies start to creep up onto the rooftop. They have no choice but to head to an even higher level and block the stairs. Takashi leads the way, and the three push forward together, knocking down one zombie after another. On the way to the stairs, one of them grabs Rei's mop handle and flings her to the ground. Without hesitation, Hisashi charges forward, snatches the baseball bat from Takashi's hand, and smashes the zombie head like a water balloon. After the close call, the three of them successfully escape to the upper level and block the stairs with tables, chairs, and whatever else is there. However, Hisashi realizes that he is starting to turn. That bite was severe, and he is getting worse by the minute. His face is covered in blood, and he starts to cough. He knows he doesn't have much time left. He wants to jump off the building to end his life, but he doesn't have the strength. He asks Takashi to help him end his suffering. He doesn't want to turn into one of them. He wants to remain himself to the end. But as soon as he finishes speaking, he passes out in pain. Just when Takashi is about to usher him into the afterlife properly, Rei throws her arms and lovely assets around Hisashi to stop him. She refuses to believe that her one and only boyfriend will turn into a zombie. Just then, Hisashi moves. He sits up straight, stands, and starts walking toward Rei, who is still in total disbelief. Takashi then coldly says that it is ridiculous, but it is also undeniable. He charges toward Hisashi to put an end to his misery. After that nasty business is done, Takashi and Rei sit by the wall. Not long after, Rei starts yelling at Takashi, accusing him of forcefully ending Hisashi's life because he was jealous of them dating. Takashi is not willing to keep on listening to her spew bullshit, so he tells her he'll head down to smash some more heads. However, this emotionally traumatized girl stops him and grabs his hand and tells him not to leave. Suddenly, Rei remembered her father, who is a police officer. She decides to call him to find out what is going on. She suddenly remembers a private line that he gave her to call if there was a serious emergency. The phone is answered immediately, but it sounds like the police station is in chaos. She could hear her father's voice, but it was choppy and unclear. What was more terrifying was the sound of a gunshot from the other end of the phone. Just when her father was about to tell them where to go, the call ended abruptly. Meanwhile, Seiya and her fat classmate, Kauta, are fleeing together through the school building. Kauta suggests seeking help from the teachers, but under such circumstances, it is unlikely anyone will be of any use to them. After getting shot down, Kauta proposes calling the police. However, Seiya explains that Japan's population is massive, and the proportion of police and security forces is minuscule. If the outbreak has spread within their ranks, they won't be of any help to them. In the infirmary, the naturally clueless but fully endowed school nurse, Shizuka, is also discovering the unpleasant characteristics of the zombies. Just as she prepares to gather some emergency supplies, a horde of zombies breaks into the infirmary. One of the students is gallantly trying to defend her so they can run for their lives, but in no time, the young man is cornered and chomped on while trying to be the hero. As the zombies swarmed and got ready to try some of her ample sample platter, a long-haired girl wielding a wooden sword appeared. She looked like my type of girl, and she also swung like an action MC. After dealing with the zombies, she crouched down and comforted the student who had tried to protect Shizuka. Then, without hesitation, she put him out of his misery. This girl was the school's third-year kendo club president. Her name is Seiko. For some unknown reason, seeing yet another wave of zombies attacking made a dangerous little smile appear at the corner of Seiko's mouth. Meanwhile, Seiya and Kauta found the school's tool room. The room is fully equipped with nail guns, saws, drills, all of which could be used to make simple self-defense weapons. But seeing Kauta still looking weak and useless, Seiya felt a serious dose of eek. Even if her choice of teammate turns out to be a useless, chubby sloth, she is stuck with him. She impatiently instructed Kauta to make some weapons for self-defense. Seeing the brainless zombies outside the door, Seiya's knees began to quake in fear, not noticing that Kauta was cooking up something good. He is busy cutting, binding, and assembling something devious. Just then, the classroom door breaks open and several zombies rush towards Seiya like Labubus were on sale. Instantly, nails pierce into the zombie foreheads. It was Kauta who took the shot. The same Kauta that Seiya was looking down on is the person that just saved her from turning into zombie chow. Kauta turned his head with a huge grin on his face and asked Seiya to load bullets for him. He had successfully made for himself a sweet nail gun. On top of the rooftop, Takashi and Rei aren't sitting around and playing chess either. They took down the fire hose, turned on the valve, and a high-pressure stream of water burst out. At first, the hose was more than the boy could handle, but he soon got the feel for it. He took control like a young man should. He instantly blasted away the approaching zombies like he was hosing off the leaves from the sidewalk. They didn't want to just wait for rescue because that would be pointless. They can only rely on themselves to break out and find other survivors. Together, they will try to get back home to find their families, and maybe so he could clap her cheeks. Although Takashi always appears relaxed in front of Rei, he feels tense. His mother is an elementary school teacher, and her school would very likely be in the same situation they are in now. Meanwhile, Seiya is conducting a little test. She threw a wet towel at a zombie's head, but it didn't react in any way. She then threw another one at the wall, and the zombies around all turned toward it. She discovered that these brainless creatures only seemed to react to sound. However, it would take time to know precisely what gets them to move around. As they were still chit-chatting about the zombies, more zombies crept right up from behind. Elsewhere, Shizuka asked Seiko to take her to the staff room because all the car keys are stored there. If they succeed in getting the keys, it will be a first step toward escaping and surviving. As they move through the hallways as quietly as possible, Shizuka trips on a body and falls. Seiko takes a good look at Shizuka's curves and thinks her tight outfit is not suitable for running, so she squats down and rips her skirt all the way up to her hip. Kauta and Seiya, on the other hand, are fighting to keep their lives and brains intact. Kauta said he's almost out of ammo, and just then, more zombies show up. Kauta tries to shoot, but like he said, he ain't got no ammo. A zombie takes one good look at Seiya and decides he wants to munch on her sweet, smooth skin first. Seiya screams at the top of her lungs, and our other MCs hear. As Seiya begins to realize no one is going to save her, she frantically grabs at anything she can reach and throws it at the zombies. She finally grabs a hold of something useful, a power drill. She shoves it into the zombie. Accompanied by the roar of the drill and Seiya's frantic scream, blood splattered everywhere. As soon as the zombie's arms dropped, Seiko, Takashi, and the others all arrived at the same time. As you would expect, the group of zombies is easily taken care of, but Seiya is clearly traumatized. She sits on the ground, her face full of horror, and she's unable to snap out of it for a long time. Rei and Shizuka immediately comfort and encourage her. Seiko, the Kendo Club president, Takashi, and Kauta from the second year, and Rei all look calm and composed. They quickly introduce themselves. When Seiya's brain reboots and she finally returns to her senses, she is suddenly furious. Such an unthinkable thing had happened, but everyone is so composed, she can't understand it. Seiko comforts her again, and Seiya, seeing herself covered in blood in the mirror, finally can't hold back and bursts into tears. The group of misfits finds a staff room to take a brief rest. Initially, they plan to escape using Shizuka's mini car, but now that won't work because they are now way more than what a mini can carry. Then, Seiko suggests using the school's minibus, the keys to which are conveniently located in the staff room. Takashi also proposes that they visit each of their homes in order, looking for their family members before collectively seeking a safe haven. The news is on, and it catches Seiya's eye. She immediately picks up the remote and turns up the volume. The news shows two body bags on gurneys suddenly springing to life, causing everyone at the scene to panic, but a few seconds later, two gunshots bring silence again. The scene cuts back to the studio, where the anchor advises the public to stay indoors, not to move around, and to wait quietly for the situation to resolve. Takashi slams a fist on the table, furious that the news acts so nonchalantly. But Seiya reasons that this is likely the government's strategy to prevent widespread panic that could lead to a total breakdown in order. If the public can't face these terrifying revived bodies, things only spiral further out of control. The television continues reporting the facts. Due to the spreading murder disease, the United States has abandoned the White House, and even the Chinese capital has turned into a sea of fire. Seiya calls it a pandemic and explains that similar mass outbreaks have occurred in history, such as the unknown flu that broke out in Spain, which infected millions and caused millions of deaths, and the Black Death that ravaged Europe in the 14th century, killing 1/3 of its population. Upon hearing this, Takashi asks how those incidents ended. To his dread, Shizuka answers that when enough people die, there are naturally no more targets left for infection. However, she suddenly brightens and mentions that summer will soon arrive, so in about a dozen days, bodies can become partially skeletonized. But Seiya argues that zombies are not within the usual scope of medical subjects, so whether they rot is still unclear. In any case, the priority is survival. The group quickly organizes its equipment and supplies. Takashi leads the group out of the staff room. Not far out, they find another pair of trapped students. Without wasting words, Takashi immediately leads the team to rescue them. With the help of the others, they easily deal with the zombies surrounding the students. Takashi invites the rescued group to join them to increase everyone's chance of survival. The team pauses in a staircase corner, observing the zombies' habits. Although they theorize that zombies only respond to sound, this is still just a guess without solid evidence. With no choice, they decide to send someone to test the theory, and Takashi volunteers. As Takashi stills his mind and moves down the stairs, Rei wants to stop him, but Seiko holds her back, telling her not to interfere as he has already made up his mind. Takashi goes down the stairs in complete silence with the real fear of becoming the next zombie meal. He stands quietly in the middle of the herd of zombies, and one moves so close to him that he panics, but it only just moves past him, proving the theory has some merit. He picks up a shoe from the ground and throws it into the distance, drawing the zombies away with the noise. They seize the opportunity. Seiko and Takashi quickly open the main door, and the group quietly escapes from the academic building. As they are all running out quietly, one stupid student, whose last brain cells have been worn out, lets his weapon hit the railings, causing a loud noise that alerts all the zombies. Takashi orders everyone to run, but the surge of zombies only grows larger. With Seiko, Takashi, and Rei leading the way, they have to cut down and whack a good number of zombies to carve out a path. Because of the size of the team, a male student falls behind and is surrounded. His girlfriend can't abandon him and rushes back, only to be bitten as well. Under the cover of Seiko and Takashi, Shizuka pulls out the school bus keys, opens the door, and everyone files onto the bus. The number of zombies outside increases rapidly. Just as the group prepares to depart, another group runs toward them from a distance. The zombies in front of the bus continue to multiply, and if they don't get their asses out of there, they will be trapped. Takashi recognizes the teacher in the group, and so does Seiya, and from the look on her face, she clearly has beef with him. A beef so big that she is wishing he would be grabbed by one of the zombies right then and munched. Takashi can't stand seeing innocent people die and wants to get off the bus to help, but Rei stops him, insisting those people aren't worth saving. As they argue, the teacher stops and encourages the students to run into the bus. A student from the running group trips, falls, and begs the teacher named Shady for help. Shockingly, Shady grins maniacally and says, "The way things are now, only the fit can survive," and kicks him down, leaving him behind as bait to slow the zombies. Once everyone is aboard, Shizuka slams the gas pedal. The bus shoots out of the parking lot, accelerating continuously as it rams and crushes zombies across the campus, ultimately breaking through the school gate and escaping. Just as everyone begins to breathe again, Shady approaches and asks if their leader is Seiko from the Kendo Club. Seiko says that they are without a leader, and as soon as Shady hears this, his balls begin to tingle. Then, he insists that it is impossible to survive the apocalypse without one. Rei looks at Takashi and warns him that he will regret saving Shady. The bus drives onto an overpass. Everyone sees the entire city below, filled with smoke, ruins, chaos, and the stench of blood. One brainless weeb yells that going any farther will only increase their risk and that they should find a safe place to hide. Shizuka slams on the brakes and tells him to stop all the yelling because she can't focus on driving. The loudmouth then points at Takashi and says he can't stand the smug look on Takashi's face. Takashi is shocked because he hasn't even said a single word. The punk rushes at Takashi to attack him. Rei rises to her feet and knocks the punk down with a stick. At that moment, Shady stands. He praises Rei and Takashi's teamwork and says the argument proves his point. A leader is necessary. He hints that being the only teacher on the bus gives him a solid reason to take that role to protect everyone. After his speech, some spineless students applaud and agree with him. He declares that, by majority rule, he is now the leader. For some reason, Rei seems increasingly uncomfortable. Rei steps out of the bus and says that she will no longer be going anywhere with Shady. Takashi steps out to calm her down, but soon after, a speeding bus catches everyone's attention. The bus is already infested with a zombie plague, and everyone in it is either being munched on or is munching on someone. The bus smashes into a smaller car and flips past the minibus, but it traps Takashi and Rei in the underpass. The bus catches on fire and flaming zombies burst out. Seiko and Takashi agree to meet up somewhere, then Takashi and Rei run out of the other end of the tunnel just as the bus explodes. As soon as they make it out of the explosion, fate doesn't even let them catch their breath before a biker zombie grabs Takashi. The zombie tries to have my boy for dinner, but luckily the biker zombie is still wearing a helmet, which prevents it from biting Takashi. Takashi struggles for his life. Out of nowhere, Rei grabs a big brick and smashes the zombie on the back of the head. Rei stretches out her hand and tells him to get his useless ass up. Takashi and Rei roll into the city on their newly borrowed motorcycle, and honestly, things look about as bad as they can. Zombies are everywhere, shuffling around like a glitchy NPC in a video game. A drone even flies by them and takes a picture of them riding on the bridge, almost looking like they're out on a date. Every move Takashi and Rei make is followed by a few curious undead. They stop at a highway and look down at the city. Rei, still holding on to a shred of hope, wonders if someone will come to save them. But Takashi has no such illusions. Takashi lets Rei know that, as it is, they are on their own, no hero coming to rescue them like in My Hero Academia. That does not sit well with Rei. She hates that he is so negative. Takashi argues he is just being realistic, but it only adds fuel to her fiery temper. Either way, they speed off as more zombies start their slow-motion pursuit. They come across a police car, and for a moment, hope flickers. And they even have time to joke about how they don't have a license to drive and it is late at night, that the cops might arrest them. That is just them trying to lighten the moment, but it doesn't last. Turns out the car is flattened by a garbage truck, and the officers inside, well, let's just say they aren't going to be giving out any tickets. Rei takes the opportunity and checks the scene and finds a revolver and some handcuffs, but the second gun is busted. Still, they have more bullets, even if they are blood-covered and gross. It seems like Rei is finally starting to accept that this isn't a bad dream. This is the new normal. Every time they stop, more zombies show up, like that one annoying party guest who refuses to leave. Eventually, they have no choice but to pull into a gas station. They need some money so they can get some gas. Takashi turns to Rei and says he doesn't have any money. Rei doesn't waste the chance to trash him and point out that he's a broke-ass loser.
I'm broke. Money zero.
Even in the middle of all this, our boy's pockets are being judged heavily. He then asks her if she has any money, and she says she does, but her purse is not with her, making her regret her outburst. Takashi says he will go inside the station and do what he must, and then he tells Rei to stand guard and scream if anything happens. Takashi goes into the store and realizes he will have to smash the register, which excites him more than a little. But just then a man creeps up from behind and grabs Rei and puts a knife to her neck. As soon as Takashi comes out, the man threatens to slit her throat unless Takashi fills up the bike and lets him have it. Takashi first tosses his bat to the ground, making noise and attracting some zombies. Takashi goes to the pump and fills the bike. When he is done, he tries talking to the man and reasoning with him, saying that they just want to find their family and assemble any survivors who might need help. The man tells him that anyone here is already either eaten or is looking for someone to eat. Just as the man is talking trash, Rei seizes the chance to push him away and run towards Takashi, but she is too slow, and the man catches up to her and grabs her plots. He starts having the time of his life groping her and teasing Takashi that he must be having a good feel of her amazing assets every night. Takashi uses the opportunity as the man is distracted with Rei's milk factories and pulls out the revolver and puts it on the man's chest. He says that he might have never used a gun before, but at this range, he definitely will not miss. The man tries to save his ass by saying the gas might explode if he pulls the trigger. But this Giga Chad is more than ready to burn the whole thing down than to let his girl be taken by another man. Takashi takes the shot, and the man falls to the ground like the sack of shit that he is. As he screams in pain and shock, Takashi jumps on the bike. Rei is ready to make it clear to this piece of trash how she felt about this moment. But Takashi says they have to go now, as company is about to arrive. And then the king and queen of the zombie apocalypse prom zoom away. When zombies storm across cities like a swarm of flies, the rich and the politicians bolt faster than cockroaches when the kitchen light turns on. They already have private jets, hidden tunnels, and underground panic rooms that cost more than a small nation's budget, running away with their tails between their legs. A sniper scope locks onto a zombie dude who somehow still thinks he's all that. The Barrett rifle kicks, thunder cracks across the ruined airport, and his head turns into modern art. Another zombie drops. Then another. Then another. Soon, the entire runway is littered with snuffed-out zombies. The shooter is Corey, a woman so lethal that her name travels like ghost stories told to kids who refuse to sleep. She is one of the top 5 sharpshooters in the country. She has been ordered to clear the runway so the important people can flee. So she works fast, because she knows every bullet is worth its weight in gold in a world collapsing by the hour. Once the last corpse drops, a fully geared cleanup team charges in. As the evacuation plane lifts off, she and her teammate watch quietly. Ammo is low. Night is coming. Far across the city, Seiko and the rest are trapped in traffic thick enough to make anyone cry. Horns blare. People panic. The bus shakes as anxious students argue. Teacher Shady stands in the aisle preaching about unity, family being irrelevant, and teamwork saving lives. His believers clap like he is the second coming, while Seiko and Seiya lean away from him as if speeches can infect them. Seiya pokes Kauta awake and points at a plane overhead. She calmly explains that the city is done for, and those passengers are elite officials rushing to distant islands or fortified military zones. Kauta says they should head there too, but Seiya shuts that down instantly. Military bases will be under lockdown and will shoot anything that twitches. Their team is weak and lacks proper adults, unless you count the nurse who keeps misplacing her keys. Kauta teases Seiya about liking Takashi. She denies it a little too firmly and turns red, only to turn and see Seiko and Shizuka standing right there. Takashi and Rei aren't having any better of a time. They ride a stolen motorcycle that smells like gas fumes and poor decisions. Zombies are everywhere, but the living are worse. At a supermarket, a bunch of gang rejects are kicking terrified civilians. The second they spot Takashi and Rei racing by, they charge like discount action villains. Fear has fried their brains to mush. Takashi shouts at Rei to hold on, twists the throttle, and the bike shoots between 2 wrecked cars, escaping successfully. Rei looks back, confused why humans are attacking humans. Takashi grunts that fear strips people of their humanity. On a nearby bridge, the military guards a barricade. Loud teenage idiots try to push through, bragging about their magic shield of juvenile privilege and entitlement. The soldiers stare at them with the same energy people give broken vending machines, then blast them off the bridge with a water cannon strong enough to peel paint. The river swallows them without a sound. Back on the bus, Shady keeps preaching, and the gullible crowd applauds him like trained seals. Seiya whispers that they are witnessing the birth of the Shady doctrine. Seiko ignores the circus and suggests they ditch the bus entirely. Takashi brings them up to the bridge and sees traffic isn't moving, so they turn to look for another way across the river. Back on the bus, Seiya thinks this is a good time to make their exit. Shady senses the plot and declares they are all to stay on the bus. Seiya isn't having any of his crap and Shady says, "Fine, just go," but insists that the nurse must stay. He steps forward to reel her in, and that is when a nail goes whizzing right past his face. Kauta just found his spine and says he has no problem ending Shady right then and there after all the mocking and ridicule he took from Shady back at the school. Kauta then tells the ladies it is time to go. As they step out of the bus, their luck runs out instantly. Seiko's group stumbles into a massive horde. Seiya and Shizuka are basically useless in a fight. Kauta fires non-stop until the click of an empty gun cuts through the noise. Seiko swears they have to fight with whatever they can grab. In the chaos, Shizuka slips, crashes into Seiya,
Nice.
and both roll toward the guardrail. Their fate looks sealed. Until a motorcycle engine screams onto the bridge. Takashi tears through the horde with Rei behind him like a beast hungry for violence. They drift hard like in Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift, sending zombies flying. Rei jumps off, stabs a skull, spins, and kicks 2 bodies over the rail. Takashi tosses his handgun to Kauta, who nails 2 zombies with perfect accuracy. Takashi reaches Seiko, and in one breath, the teams reunite. Their reinforced attack turns the horde into mulch. Within seconds, the bridge is clear enough to breathe again. Rei cheers and tackles Shizuka with pure relief. The whole group gathers as dusk is coming. Shizuka brushes herself off and, for once, remembers something useful. She has a friend with a place nearby, and she has the spare key with her. The house is safe for the night. They arrive at Shizuka's friend's place, and after all that they have just been through, they finally find a place to relax. They find warm water, fragrant shampoo. Everything is incredibly relaxing. While the girls enjoy this rare comfort, the 2 guys, Kauta and Takashi, search for and gather weapons. After working together, they manage to pry open a safe, but when they open it, what they see blows their tiny little teenage minds, a mini arsenal. Kauta is a military enthusiast, and he is particularly excited to find these semi-automatic rifles, a crossbow capable of taking down a grizzly bear, and a riot shotgun. The girls aren't really bothered, they are just having the time of their lives. Takashi asks Kauta a question that has been bothering him: why is he so familiar with firearms? Kauta confesses that he had the opportunity to train with a Blackwater commando for a whole month while visiting the United States. His instructor was even a former Special Forces captain. No wonder Kauta's shooting skills are so exceptional. But Kauta is not the only one who has questions. All these weapons are prohibited in Japan. He wonders who Shizuka's friend is. Takashi explains that she seems to be a member of the Japanese Special Police Force. Unlike the sweet homey feel of this cabin, the bridge leading out of the city has long been blocked by the Walking Dead. The media station there has even named this pandemic the murderous disease. Unknown to the protesting crowd being let through, the soldiers blocking their way have also been abandoned by the government, left with a simple directive to sort it out themselves. The government dips. What is even more unsettling is the emergence of a protest group within the fleeing crowd. They accuse the United States and Japan of causing this worldwide disaster due to a leak from their joint biological lab. Suddenly, a commotion arises from behind the police line. One of the officers has turned into a zombie, and a horde is approaching. After the officers regain their composure and eliminate the threat, they notice a mother in the crowd cradling her child and crying for help. Her daughter is looking limp and possibly done for, but then goes rigid in her arms and then quickly sits up to take an adult-sized bite right out of mommy's neck. The officers are left with no choice. They open fire once again, eliminating them both. This action inspires the already protesting crowd, who are now chanting against the indiscriminate shooting. The police chief steps forward and advises the protest leader to disperse quickly or everyone will be in danger. But the leader refuses to listen, believing the chief is lying and covering up the government's and America's heinous crimes. In desperation, the chief threatens that they have instructions to maintain order and can take any necessary measures. Meanwhile, the girls who have finished bathing come out of the bathroom, but they all seem a little off. After strenuously settling Shizuka and Seiya, Takashi turns around only to see the school senior, Seiko, wearing an apron and cooking with a calm expression. She tells him she has no clothes to wear because they are all being washed. She also tells him that he doesn't have to keep calling her Senior Seiko. He can just call her by name. Everything is back to normal. Kauta is on the balcony with binoculars on the lookout, while Seiko has taken charge of making dinner. Rei summons Takashi to the staircase and starts talking about how Hisashi was always there to listen to her. That's why they had grown so close. Unlike Takashi, who would always just get upset. Takashi snaps, gets up, and starts telling her that Hisashi is in the past. He became a zombie, and Takashi had to use his own hands to end him. Rei gets up and holds his shirt as Takashi is ranting. They look at each other with such passion, and they slip down, and Rei goes in to lock her lips against Takashi's. Under the zombie attack, the government has resorted to deploying bulldozers to crush the masses, and even the police officers tasked with maintaining order can't bear the pressure. Some have even turned their guns on themselves. Takashi's crew are just chilling, resting and enjoying the moment while it lasts. Suddenly, the sound of a dog barking from outside catches their attention, and upon investigating from the balcony, they realize that the number of zombies around is growing. The situation is deteriorating beyond control and at a very fast rate. This frustrates Takashi to the bone. He's eager to grab a gun and start mowing down zombies, but Seiko stops him. She warns him that the zombies are sensitive to sound, and rash gunfire would only attract more of them. After her words, Seiko turns off the exterior lights. She cautions Takashi that mere courage won't ensure survival in this world. They must be wary of other living humans. They don't have the power to save everyone and must adapt to this fallen world. While Takashi returns to scanning the vicinity with the binoculars, he realizes their little beehive has attracted even more zombies. At some point, Takashi's seen enough carnage, but then spots something heartbreaking. A man and his little daughter are running for safety. They reach a house with the lights on. Desperate, the father begs them to let his daughter in. In desperation, he threatens to knock the door down. At first, it looks like the door is going to open, but no, a spear suddenly jabs through, taking the dad out, while they pathetically apologize from inside. The poor guy falls back, the little girl crying at his side as he tells her to hide. Of course, her sobbing attracts the zombies. And just when you think all hope is lost, out of nowhere, zombies start dropping one by one. Kauta tells Takashi they've got to save the kid. Takashi rushes inside to grab the motorbike and the help of Rei and Seiko. They prep a ramp and man the gate. Armed and ready, Takashi jumps his bike right into the thick of them, weaving through zombies like he's in some kind of death-defying obstacle race, while Kauta provides cover with his rifle. It's all going pretty smoothly until Takashi skids on a zombie corpse, right as he enters the courtyard, and he lands on his ass. He recovers, but now he's got a problem. Zombies are surrounding the little girl, and more are closing in. Kauta does what Kauta does best and starts popping off more headshots, giving Takashi just enough time to close the gate and get to the girl. He reassures her that her dad was a hero and even gives her a flower to put on his body, which is as sweet as it is depressing. Now, they need to get out quietly without alerting more zombies, which is easier said than done when you're trying to climb a wall like you're in Naruto, but with none of the cool ninja powers. Back at the apartment, Seiya and Shizuka wake up and realize things are getting serious. They quickly load up their gear in Rika's Humvee, prepping for a rescue mission. Somehow, they forget that they are only wearing underwear and a kitchen apron. Meanwhile, Kauta hurries downstairs, and Shizuka, as soon as she sits in the driver's seat, panics at first. Mind you, Kauta is just wandering around aimlessly with a nosebleed because he's seeing them all barely dressed. Shizuka gets a hold of herself and speeds through the zombie-infested streets like she's in Fast and Furious, Apocalypse Edition. In efforts to totally fulfill the movie cliché, Seiko is standing on top of the Humvee wearing nothing but an apron and panties. As they arrive, she leaps into action, slicing through zombies left and right like she's auditioning for a crossover with Demon Slayer. Takashi, now with the little girl, Alice, on his back and the tiny dog tucked into his sweater, has been walking on the wall like Spider-Man. At some point, Alice says she needs to take a leak. They are standing in the midst of zombies, and any little thing would end them both. Takashi tells her to wait, but she says she can't, and so he tells her to just whiz right there on him. Takashi can feel his dignity draining away. As soon as the cavalry arrives, Takashi makes a running leap onto the Humvee's roof. Kauta clears the path with his shotgun, and just like that, Seiko hops back onto the Humvee, and Shizuka speeds them away from the chaos. They save the girl, they're all safe, but now there's just one small problem. They've still got to figure out how to cross the river. Everyone is on board. Shizuka steps on the accelerator, and the Hummer speeds away. After driving through the rest of the night, they find a spot to use the vehicle's wading ability to cross the river. Everyone learns that the little girl's name is Alice, and Kauta is particularly fond of little Alice. He puts her in front of him, singing and playing. When they get to the other side, the group gets out of the car on the shore for a short rest and changes into the dry clothes brought by Shizuka. While the girls are changing clothes, Kauta hands over the shotgun to Takashi, carefully explaining how to use it. He also specifically mentions the gun's capacity and recoil. Takashi assures him that he will take it seriously, but will use it as a club if necessary. While the two men are talking, the girls finish changing clothes. The next scene leaves the guys dumbfounded, especially by Ray, who's sporting a long gun with a mean bayonet on the business end of it. Everything is ready to go. Takashi and Kauta lead the way, first climbing the river embankment to check the situation. After confirming it is safe, Shizuka steps on the accelerator and the Hummer charges up the embankment like a wild beast. After a brief discussion, everyone decides to head to Seiya's house, which is the closest. Takashi steps forward, hesitating as if he wants to say something, but Seiya is smart. She knows what he wants to say. She doesn't hold out much hope. On the way, everyone is surprised to discover that after crossing the river, they haven't encountered a single zombie. Even the helicopters that were hovering above them the previous day are gone. The surrounding environment seems no different from usual, the only anomaly being the eerily silent and deserted streets. As Takashi closes his eyes to enjoy this surreal peace, Kauta spots the missing horde of zombies about 50 meters ahead. Seiya quickly directs Shizuka to turn right. Unexpectedly, there are even more zombies after the turn. They turn left again, but the horde is thicker still. With no other choice, they floor the accelerator to break through. Suddenly, they realize that someone has set up a wire fence ahead. A direct collision would result in a fatal accident. Therefore, Shizuka cranks the wheel and sharply turns the vehicle. Then she has to slam the brakes to not smash them all into the wall. Ray, who is on lookout duty on the roof, flips down onto the hood, then bounces to the ground. The surrounding zombies start to mob right for her. Takashi jumps down and levels his shotgun at the undead, however. He is using it for the first time and doesn't truly heed Kauta's words and isn't ready for the strong recoil. At such close range, he not only fails to hit the zombies, but is also forced to step back. Kauta quickly crawls out of the car, instructing Takashi to establish a solid stance and aim near the chest. This way, the recoil can help him blow off the zombies' heads. Sure enough, after trying this, he successfully shoots 2 zombies. Just when Takashi is getting the hang of it, his shotgun runs out of shells. In his panic, he reaches in his pocket for more, but drops them on the ground. At this point, Seiko gets out of the car. She tells Takashi to check on Ray while she holds off the zombies. Takashi quickly assesses Ray's injuries and finds that due to the severe impact, she is unable to fight. Suddenly, he notices that Ray is still carrying a gun. Without waiting for her response, he takes her gun. After a brief explanation from Kauta about how to use it, he begins to fire off rounds. Just then, a more dangerous situation arises. The vehicle, which has stalled from the previous collision, fails to restart. This time, Seiya is not ready to stand by idly. She gets out of the car, picks up the shotgun, ready to start firing. Seiko has to save her once again. However, this is when everyone runs out of bullets. The horde of zombies still swarms them like a flood of ants. A feeling of despair and helplessness shrouds everyone. At this moment, Takashi snatches the gun from Seiya's hands and charges toward the zombie horde, making noise all the while. Seiko realizes that he is trying to lure the zombies away. She kicks down another and retrieves her wooden sword, running through the horde to help Takashi. As expected, some of the zombies are drawn away by the 2 of them, but there is still a large group trudging toward the rest of them. Just as Ray and Seiya are embracing each other, waiting for death, a familiar voice rings out from behind them. It's a team of people in firefighter protective suits. They set up high-pressure water cannons to clear the zombies. After blasting the zombies away with water, the rescuers start to remove their helmets, and they realize that the commander is none other than Seiya's mother. Although they are successfully rescued, there is no joy of survival, because now Takashi and Seiko, who lure the zombies away, have been separated from the main group. They have no choice but to take a detour and head to Seiya's house from another direction. Familiar with the area, Takashi leads Seiko to a motorcycle shop they saw before. They initially planned to grab a bike and go, but unexpectedly find a 4-wheel amphibious craft in the warehouse. They ride it recklessly, with Takashi planning to use the craft's ability to travel over water to reach an island in the middle of the river. No sooner has Takashi finished speaking, he twists the throttle hard, and the bike hurtles into the river, sending up a huge splash. A self-satisfied Takashi quickly checks on Seiko. only to find her soaked and see-through. Feeling Takashi's intense gaze, Seiko quickly covers herself. Afterward, they ride to the small island in the middle of the river. Takashi finds dry clothes from his backpack for Seiko. Once she has changed, he turns around to see that she has changed into a more attractive dress, which makes him flustered. After some awkward talk about who she likes, they notice that the number of zombies on the shore has significantly decreased, so they hit the road again. This time, Takashi drives the ATV directly into a city fountain. Before Seiko can protest, he finds some tape to fix the throttle, causing the craft to keep moving. Seiko then understands Takashi wants to create a noise source to attract the zombies, creating a path for them to escape. Without saying a word, she dashes out, swinging her wooden sword, leaving Takashi in awe. But in the next second, she stands frozen in place. There are two child zombies slowly approaching her. While Seiko is still in shock, the zombie children reach for her, ready to munch on some drumsticks. In the nick of time, Takashi pushes Seiko aside and shoves the barrel of his gun into one mini zombie's mouth. Without a moment to spare, Takashi grabs Seiko's hand, and they start running and get the heck out of there. After a long run, they finally find a shrine to rest. There, Takashi finds an authentic ceremonial sword, but since the earlier incident, Seiko is still distracted. Takashi hands her a dry school uniform to change into and then gives her a package of something good he has just found. Seeing it, Seiko finally lets out a laugh, but the atmosphere quickly turns awkward again. Takashi is curious, so he asks why she froze earlier. Seiko tells him that she was reminded of what terror feels like. She explains that she also has a boy she likes, but she has never dared to express her feelings because she doesn't think she is good enough for him. Takashi finds this unbelievable, as he thinks any boy would be attracted to a girl like Seiko. She then asks him what they would think if they knew she had almost killed someone. Hearing this, Takashi is stunned. It turns out that years ago, one night, Seiko is walking home alone when a man suddenly springs out to attack her. But because she is carrying a wooden sword, she doesn't lose. In fact, she manages to break the man's shoulder blade and femur. The police don't say much when they finally arrive and just take her home. Takashi comforts her, saying it is simply a matter of self-defense. But what Seiko says next completely shocks him. She explains that she was actually happy, that she enjoyed the beatdown. The feeling of finding a clear enemy excites her so much that she trembles. She knew she had the upper hand with the wooden sword, so she intentionally acted scared to lure the man into her trap, then beat the snot out of him without hesitation. The feeling is so exhilarating it drives her to the peak of madness. But this is also the true nature of Seiko, a girl who revels in power and finds joy in it, yet still holds a sincere girl's heart. Takashi is shocked at first, but says that he has become that way, too, that he has begun to enjoy smashing these undead heads in. But she says that she was that way all along. Seiko continues to explain, recalling the moment at the fountain where she realized she hasn't changed, but it has instead become more severe. Before she can finish, Takashi grabs her hand and puts his lips on hers. The next morning, Takashi cautiously opens the shrine's front doors. He is hoping to sneak out from the back of the shrine with Seiko. Seiya's house is less than 20 minutes from there, but the zombies are already coming up the stairs and into the courtyard. As more and more zombies appear, Takashi says they should make a run for it, but Seiko has that look on her face and doesn't move. Takashi gets in her face. She says she can't do it. He then moves behind her and suddenly grabs her plots. He tells her they have come too far to go down here like this, that he doesn't care what she's done, only what she does now. Finally, Seiko comes to her senses. She places her hand on the hilt of her sword, takes a slow, deep breath, and bursts forward. Both graceful and deadly, she sweeps through the horde like a ballerina assassin. After the two of them manage to escape, they run along the road. Seiko grabs Takashi's hand and asks him seriously if he really meant what he said. Takashi flashes a gigachad smile.
Hells yeah!
Takashi and Seiko arrive at Seiya's home arm in arm. Little Alice is so excited to see them return safely that she leaps into their arms. At Seiya's house, they all begin to live seemingly ordinary days. In this place, Seiko also dresses in an elegant kimono. Takashi is flustered. He expresses how good she looks in the kimono. However, Seiko misunderstands Takashi's comment. Takashi tries to explain, but she stops him, causing an awkward silence. Eventually, they both start laughing at the situation. Just then, Alice pops up again. As Takashi is teasing Alice, a heated argument is going on elsewhere. Seiya is having a dispute with her mother. Takashi is about to ask, but he is interrupted by Seiya, who storms off without looking back. Then Seiya's mother comes out, apologizes to Takashi, and asks if he is getting accustomed to living there. Takashi says it's crazy nice, considering what's going on around them. He knew that the commander's house would be luxurious, but he never expected it to be this extravagant. However, Seiya's mother tells him that they can't stay there much longer. Maintaining such a large network of water and electricity supply requires many highly organized experts working together. From the very beginning of the disaster, the commander dispatched troops to protect power plants and water plants, but the people working there couldn't work endlessly. They also have families, so she wants to ask Takashi to persuade Seiya to escape. On the other hand, Seiya tells Kauta that she feels the adults here are not taking them seriously. Therefore, she plans to gather everyone to discuss a strategy. Soon, everyone gathers in Rei's room. Seiya tells everyone that they need to discuss whether they will continue to be companions in the future. They'll have to choose to join the main army or leave together. Takashi feels Seiya's parents have considerable influence, so they should just join the main army. Just then, the roar of engines comes from outside. Seiya's father, Takagi, just returned. He returned with a man in a cage, a former servant of the house who has sacrificed his life to save his companions during a mission. While his actions have been noble, he is no longer human. He orders the cage to be opened. The zombie instantly rushes out, heading toward the nearest living being, ready to bite whatever it can get a hold of. The zombie is cut down with a samurai sword. Takagi explains to everyone that this is the reality of their current world. On the balcony, Takashi and the others are shocked by the scene that has just happened before them. However, Kauta is mumbling to himself with his head lowered. He thinks the efficiency of the sword is too low. Once it hits bone, it becomes useless after 3 or 4 uses. Kauta becomes agitated. Takashi is about to step in and calm him down, but in the next moment, Kauta pushes Takashi aside and screams that Takashi is someone who can't even handle a gun properly. After saying this, he storms off, leaving everyone stunned. However, little Alice bravely steps forward, offering to be a messenger between Takashi and Kauta. But after Kauta storms off, they can't find him. Suddenly, Alice runs up to Takashi and informs him that Kauta is in big trouble. A group of adults has surrounded Kauta, demanding that he surrender his weapons. They argue that in this dangerous world, it isn't fair for one person to hoard so many weapons. Despite Kauta desperately explaining that the weapons are borrowed, the adults are relentless and even are prepared to seize them. In the end, Seiya's father, Takagi, comes to intervene. He asks Kauta why he is not willing to give up his weapons. Just as Kauta is struggling with his response, Takashi steps forward. He states that Kauta is doing this to protect Seiya. From the very beginning of the disaster, it has been Kauta who protected her. Seiko also expresses her great respect for Kauta's courage. Finally, Seiya stands up to her father, saying it is Kauta who has kept her safe. She declares that without him, she would have long since become one of the zombies. Finally, Takagi deems that Kauta will keep all his guns. Outside the compound, Mr. Shido has arrived at Seiya's house with his group, looking like he's searching for both refuge and fresh victims to corrupt. He leaves the poor student who rats out Seiya's place outside for the zombies, like some sick offering. While Shido is scheming, Seiya notices that people are growing frustrated with her father's behavior in the courtyard, and the group's divided. Some are holding on to the belief that the infected aren't truly dead, just victims of a curable disease. They are not willing to turn into cold-blooded killers, no matter how dire the situation gets. Seiya tries to reason with them, but convincing people clinging to false hope is impossible. As a supportive sidekick, Kauta appreciates Seiya's effort, but also empathizes with the survivors, understanding the human tendency to ignore the harsh truth. It's not too different from how they survive high school, by turning a blind eye to everything. Meanwhile, Seiko meets up with Takagi, who's ready to hand over a legendary sword. Seiko suggests the sword should go to Takashi instead. Takagi agrees that Takashi's grown a lot, but warns that he's holding back, and the world isn't going to wait for him to figure things out. After talking with Seiko, Takashi goes to Takagi and announces his plan to find his mom and Rei's parents. It's a dangerous mission, but he's determined. Takagi warns that they can't take on more survivors and can't afford to wait any longer, so if Takashi doesn't return by morning, they'll have to leave without him. In the front hall, Takashi gets ready to leave with Rei, but Seiko shows up in full battle gear and her shiny new sword. She's coming too. And since these younglings have nothing else to do, the rest of the squad shows up. But just as the crew is about to head out, Rei makes a dramatic exit through the main entrance, charging at none other than Shido, who has just strolled in with his cult-like students. Rei's got her bayonet out, and you can almost feel the tension snapping in the air. Shido pretends to be shocked by the sudden attack, but it's obvious he's been expecting this showdown. Turns out, Shido's dad is a corrupt politician who orchestrated Rei's forced grade repetition as punishment for her father's investigations. Rei has been holding back, not wanting to mess with the investigation. But now, with the world in chaos, everyone in the investigation can go f*** themselves because none of that matters anymore. As the situation escalates, Takagi steps in and, surprisingly, permits Rei to kill Shido if she wants. The ties between the two families no longer hold any weight. Takashi starts to intervene, but Seiko stops him, insisting Rei needs to make her own choice. After a tense moment, Rei decides not to kill Shido, but banishes him and his students from the Takagi residence. As Shido's bus rolls out of the compound, Rei's weirdly calm. While the group thinks they've got a moment to breathe, the United States launches a preemptive strike, sending nukes flying. The retaliation is swift, and suddenly, the skies are filled with missiles targeting cities and critical sites. But there's something even more ominous in the air. Some missiles are climbing higher and higher, aimed at something else. Shizuka suddenly gets a bright idea and starts jumping around like a baby. She grabs Kaota's phone and, after a moment of confusion over which button does what, she dials Rika's number. Everything is looking peachy as she tells Rika all about how they borrowed her guns, but before she can say much more, the sky lights up. Seiya immediately gets that gut feeling when you know shit's about to go down, and it's about to happen really badly. She tells Rei to check her gun's scope, but no luck, it is dead. Turns out, that sudden flash is a high-altitude nuclear explosion, and the resulting EMP has fried anything with a circuit. The whole world has gone full analog. Meanwhile, Shido, who is trying to hightail it away from the Takagi residence in a bus, finds out the hard way that the brakes don't work too well. The bus plows into a forklift, opening a path for a lot of zombies. As the horde pours in, Takagi orders the gates shut. But no electricity means no motorized gates, and trying to close them manually is about as effective as using a noodle in a sword fight. As zombies flood the place like flies, panic sets in. Those survivors who are saying zombies aren't real have a quick change of heart, though some don't get that chance. Takagi and Yuriko quickly rally the remaining fighters, like they are getting the gang together for one last heist. There's a building nearby that can offer some safety, but here's the catch: anyone who can fight has to fight. Takagi even throws a little shade at Takashi, asking why he hasn't tried to find his parents yet. Takashi, not needing to be told twice, gathers the group to head for the Hummer. But the Hummer is knee-deep in repairs. Now, the crew has to hold off the undead while the mechanic finishes his tune-up. Even Seiya gets her hands dirty before barking orders at Shizuka to get in the Hummer with Alice. Once the engine starts, they know it is time to get their asses out of there. Takagi and Yuriko, meanwhile, are in the thick of the action, fending off the horde. As the Hummer speeds away, Seiya looks back through the window, watching her parents as they stay behind. But they're not worried. They have trained her well, and they know she's capable. Plus, let's face it, she's got one heck of a squad with her now. Just when it seems like they're in the clear, they spot Shido's busted-up bus blocking the road. But no one cares about that hideous fool. The plan is simple. First, track down Takashi's mom and Rei's parents. After that, it's on to finding Rika. But the mission never goes quite as smoothly as planned, as we all can predict. After taking too much damage, the Hummer is out of commission. With no other choice but to leave the Hummer in the past, they stumble upon a shopping mall. Thanks for watching until the very end. You are a true hero of the apocalypse. Drop a RIP Kaota in the comments to confuse those weaklings who just can't last through a whole video. like, subscribe, and check out another of our exciting videos here on the screen. Stay awesome, stay AniGeek,